and welcome to another special edition of Shelby This Week. It's a new year, so that means new initiatives, new challenges, and new ideas from our local leaders. So we sat down with them to find out just what they accomplished in 2016, and more importantly, what's to come in 2017. Supervisor Rick Stathakis is going to tell you exactly where the plans for the new community center sits, and his expectations on working with new people on the township board. And Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle joined us on that interview. He'll give you a look at his plans for the county in the new year and his answer on the topic he's questioned on year-round, new road construction projects. And you're not going to want to miss the sit-down with Police Chief Robert Shelby. With the 41A District Court, he's going to tell you exactly what he thinks on their move to his side of Van Dyke and his plans in working together. And the opening of Fire Station number 5 is coming up quick. Find out when that will be and updates to the fire department with Chief Jim Swinkowski. Finally, we'll talk budgets and what's coming up for our students with Superintendent of Utica Community Schools, Dr. Christine Johns. It's all on this episode of Shelby This Week's Look Ahead. First, we're going to start off with our community leaders, Shelby Township Supervisor Rick Stathakis and Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle. Thank you both for coming.
Glad to be here.
Thanks, Kelly. Thank you.
And for sitting down together, you not taking the spotlight, sharing it. So first, we want to talk about 2016. We've had a great year. Let's talk about some of the best accomplishments. Rick, if you want to start first.
Well, I think if I could just build off the great partnership we have with the county, we got a lot of road reconstruction and construction done. 24 Mile is finished. Thank you very much for heading that project. And also Hayes Road is now complete. And also I'm very happy about on Hayes between 25 and 26 Mile Road, the county got that done as well. So we've got a lot of happy people in Shelby Township, and we've had a great partnership as long as Mark has been there. We've got some almost $50 million invested in Shelby Township, and about $6 million of that is actually Shelby Township money. And actually, they've done a little bit more than match our $6 million. I'm talking about the county. So it's a great partnership. We rely on you guys, and I hope we can keep it going, and I know we can because we've got some great projects going in 2017.
And you mentioned all that money and plus having a surplus in the budget.
Yeah, we've actually had a surplus every single year since, 2009, since we've been together as a board, the incoming board with Mr. Flynn, Mr. Wozniak, and Mr. Grode. Now, in 2016, it looks like we don't have a surplus because we actually took $2.2 million out of our budget, and we're kind of putting in a bank account so that when we're ready to do the Shelby Township Community Center, we'll have the money.
Yeah, but we will want to touch on
that's
that.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about that a little later. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what about 2016 for Macomb County?
Well, it's kind of building off what we're talking about with roads. Roads are always a problem throughout the entire county. There are issues. They tried to come up with that proposal a couple years ago. It failed because I think it added more to the actual proposal than just roads. And so it wasn't a pure proposal, and people defeated it. There was no question as to why. I think what we realized, though, is people do want the roads fixed. They want the bridges taken care of. Public officials, we get that. We know there's constraints because of funding, and so we try to work together the best we can to solve as many of the major problems as we can, but it's always an ongoing issue. I think one of the things that get asked of us, and I know Rick gets quite a bit of calls from it, even from the media as well as the public, what roads are coming up next, how are these projects working out, and what people don't realize is that even in the county right now, we have available through our website, if they just want to look up Macomb County Government, they'll find the Macomb County website. They can go to that website and look for the road projects that are up and coming. So they can look at 2017, see all the road projects that are out there that are slated. It'll give you the approximate date it's going to start, approximate date that it's going to be completed, the approximate cost associated with it. So right now we've got them online, and for 2017 all the way out through 2020. And so they can look on it, make a determination what roads are coming their way. But again, the unfortunate reality is it's based upon funding. And so we've already got allocated funds out there for the next 5 years out for the major projects. Some money is available for some of those minor projects that do come up, or bridges that I guess need to be reconstructed. But for the most part, working with Shelby Township and pretty much most every municipality, the public officials get it. We understand the lack of funding, and we're going to continue to try to figure out how we deal with those issues.
Do you foresee with, Oakland County, they have the big I-75 project going on. Do you foresee a big project like that that's going to create major shifting in traffic and commuting going on in
We
Macomb
already have
County?
one, Hall Road.
Hall Road, yeah. MDOT deals with the major roads. Most people don't understand the whole difference between local road funding, talking about counties and local municipalities, state funding. I mean, it is a very complex issue, but the reality is there are different pots of money that are available for different, I guess, units of government that do provide that service. So, coming upon the winter months, one of the things that we have committed to, we don't care whose road it is. We're going to try to get out there, and I don't even care about the overtime. But what we tell our road department is, if those roads look like they're going to get snow covered, we want to get out there ahead of time. We probably have the best reputation in the Tri-County area from our roads department to try to get out ahead of a storm. What we tell them is, get the trucks out there. If we know, based upon news reports, looking at forecasts, that there is going to be a snowfall that's coming, or a major one, we want to get out there and start making people feel comfortable that we're ready for it. Again, you're always going to have those major storms that we're
Right.
always trying to play catch up on, but for the most part, our road crew does a fabulous job of trying to get that done, and unfortunately they sometimes get blamed because of the problems of the road. It comes down to funding, and the state still has not resolved that problem with funding, but that's not an excuse. We're going to try to continue the best we can.
Yeah, we can only control what we got going on here.
Yes.
So let's talk about 2017. First, I think the residents really want to hear about this community center. The most exciting part about, we had hoped in 2016 we would see it. We saw talks. What's 2017 going to hold for that?
Well, I think the best news for 2017 is that our court will actually, our modest court, which is going to be about $4.5 million, will actually be built, operating, and equipped, and will be running by the end of 2017. It'll be built right next to the police station. And what at one time was a $30 million project, think of this, we actually got the police station and court, we'll be able to say, at the end of 2017, built for a total of about $8.5 million, which is about 30% of what they were talking about back in 2006. Something obviously we could not afford. But the best news is that it'll be paid for, no tax increases. It's something we've been saving for a long time. The judges are going to be very happy. It's going to be exactly what they need. And I'm just really happy that our Board of Trustees and our employees and our department has figured it all out. And we're going to get it done. Finally, after about 15 years of talking, it's going to get done.
When it comes to this building, because I know a lot of senior citizens watch our show, and that's their questions when they come in. They say, all right, what's going to happen? What's going to happen here? When it comes to this building renovation costs, are residents going to see that on their backs?
No, not at all. In fact, we have about $1.5 million put away in a capital improvement fund, a transfer that we just approved yesterday, to be put into a fund so we can now. Well, remember, the court is now going to be removed next year, so that's going to open up a lot of space. The question is, how much bigger is the library going to be? How much bigger is cable TV going to be? And how much bigger is the senior center going to be? There's going to be a lot of space. And how much money is it going to cost? We've got a committee working on that, and my hope is that in 2017, not only will we have a plan to address that, but also we'll be well on our way in either renovating or who knows, maybe tearing the building down and building something new. I don't think we'll be doing that, but I'm not on the committee, and we're going to do what's best for the community. But whatever we do, no tax increases, it'll be paid for in cash, and no long-term debt, no bonding. And we will still, at the end of this 2017, with everything we're talking about doing, we will still be the lowest cost in terms of tax millage in Macomb County in having, I'm comparing all the other townships that have a fire department and full service police department. We are the lowest at 9.299.
Wow.
And we will, and we're not increasing taxes. We don't have to.
That's always good to hear. We
Yeah.
could just end this now.
That's having your financial house in order. And
Right.
Shelby does a great job with it.
We got a great board, great
And I
board,
think what you
and
got
great
with-
partners.
And when you say great partners, I mean, working alongside of not only your parks and recs. I mean, I got to tell you, you guys got a great parks and recs
Yeah.
department. Not only that, obviously, with what you have with your media and your television station here,
Aw.
but as well, we start talking about looking at what goes on with planning economic development. I got to tell you, your staff working along with ours has done some incredible work to try to grow manufacturing and I guess, if you will, economic base within this township, and that there's an incredible uprising when it comes to IT jobs, manufacturing facilities that is coming through this county.
Yeah.
And I just give one statistic alone. It's interesting. If you look around the nation over the last 5 years, if you look at IT jobs, Macomb County has grown with IT jobs 116% new jobs in IT-related fields. Where yet across the nation over the past 5 years, the average across the nation is 12% increase. So that's telling there are new types of jobs coming to this area, and again, good high-paying jobs and opportunities. And I'll tell you, a lot of that is here in Shelby Township.
Why do you think that is? You know, you've talked a lot about you know, the old manufacturing Macomb County is becoming high-tech Macomb County. What's drawing people here?
Can I just give you one piece of that answer?
Yeah.
A very important piece for Shelby Township. Prime Properties is something that he and a developer actually came up with, and we have been using that Prime Properties because what it is actually is a website. We're open to the world, and we now have developers actually advertising their property on their website. And I know firsthand that, you know, that corridor between Jewel Road, between 23 and 24 Mile Road, that is now all factory based. It's industrial and it's almost full. And that's going to be probably about 600 to 700 jobs when it's all completed. But Prime Properties actually is one of the reasons why we're able to get people to come to Shelby Township. And we've got some really magnificent, critical people here in Shelby Township. And it's not only the jobs, but revenue-wise, we're bringing in probably about $200,000 extra dollars into, you know, the coffers, which very important to us. So Prime Properties has really been important for Shelby Township. And I know you didn't develop it for Shelby Township, it's for the whole county, but we have been using
started
it.
in Shelby.
And it pays, it's paying off.
Yeah, it did. And to your question about, you know, why Macomb County, I think what you have is, you know, kind of a long history of what's been happening here, especially that corridor up and down Van Dyke and Mountain, starting in the city of Warren, Sterling Heights, now out to Shelby Township. Everything is so uniquely, I guess, advantageous to us for that. You know, you've got the defense, you've got the automotive, you've got the suppliers that are in and around this area, and they all want to be close to one another because of that. I guess if you research, design, engineering, and then obviously the manufacturing piece all coming together, this is the epicenter when you start thinking about from concept to actually designing and creating a vehicle or whatever it might be. It's happening in and around this area. We are very unique in the entire country, not just in the state of Michigan, in what we have here. Those cluster of assets in and around that area makes it so, I guess, if you will, advantageous for a company to want to come here. And we're seeing it with all different types of organizations throughout the entire country wanting to locate to Macomb County. And so with that being said, I think it just is our job to continue to market that, promote that, and get the word out. They're coming, and there's more to come in that Shelby Township corridor that he's referring to. So we're going to continue to push for that. Cybersecurity is another area where we have taken the lead on that. We're seeing a tremendous opportunity with Selfridge right now being one of the locations that's going to be getting a fighter jet. I mean, we are one of 5. Again, they're going to be selecting two sites. Right. Selfridge is one of the 5 left on the table right now, is possibly getting this.
Now,
and whether they get it or not, you know, which I'm very hopeful for, we're going to do everything we can to try to make that reality. But just the statement alone, I mean, you talk about an affirmation of the value of that particular facility here, and they're embarking upon their 100-year anniversary next year, and a lot of events are going to be planned out there that are going to be community related. I'll tell you, we have got a tremendous asset with our military force out there at Selfridge, and we do a great job here in this area and always have when it comes to providing things and making things that protect those who protect us.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the government and some of these new names in different positions. So let's talk 2017, heading into a new election year with a new board, new candidates and positions. Rick, you have somewhat of a new township board with 3 new players on.
We do. We've got Vince Viviano. You know Vince Viviano? I think you do.
Yeah. Good guy.
He's a right-hand guy.
Hard worker.
No, Vince is going to be a great addition. I'm just looking forward. Vince and I have been working together on the road projects and whatever with Mark. So he's already a great addition. And anytime we have further questions about roads and what have you, we can just go to Vince, and he's going to be a great addition that way. Also, we've got Jonathan Mullen and we've got Lynn Wilhelm. We're going to have a really cohesive board. I think we always have had that in the past, but I'm looking forward to getting some big things done by the end of the year. And by the way, one thing, when we start talking about jobs and people moving around, it also means that infrastructure needs to be there too. And we're actually building a brand new fire station, as you know, on 21 in Shaner. That's going to be fire station number 5, and that's going to be paid for with cash as well, no bonding, no long-term debt. That'll be done by the end of first quarter of next year. So that's a big deal for Shelby Township. And then maybe by the end of next year also, we're going to build another fire station to replace the one between 23 and 24 Mile Road on Shaner, because we got to get something further north. And with fire station number 5 being south, now we're going to have the north and south, I think, well planned out. And we've got, these big housing projects. They're going to be catching fire really, really quickly, being built probably in the next couple of years, and we're going to be ready for it. So, yeah, we got a great board. I think the fire stations, the community center, and having the court done are going to be 3 big things, along with the roads, of course, which are always important and always near the top of our budget in Shelby Township.
You mentioned transparency, and we've seen a lot of that. We've talked about transparency a lot, especially in 2016 with the presidential election, and it filtered then down to the local, every position imaginable. With transparency, in 2017, can we see that out of Shelby Township and Macomb County, and not just with the successes, but also with the failure? I mean, everybody makes mistakes, everybody has failures, everybody says, oh, we messed this up, we gotta go back, we gotta look at this again. How transparent can we see our local government?
Well, every transaction that we have in Shelby Township is an open book, and our budget is an open book, literally an open book on my counter, or even the clerk's counter. Any time of the day, you can take a look as to what we spent, what we're spending, and what we're going to spend. In fact, we just had our budget yesterday. We had our budget presentation by Ellen McDonald, our Director of Finance. He did a great job. But, it's a spending guide, and it's a projection, what we think we're going to be doing a year from now. And we try to stick to it as closely as we can. And we actually have been very successful in sticking very close to it. And actually, in fact, I got to tell you, our revenue in 2016 and 2017, take your pick, is still lower than it was in 2007 and 2006. So we're not quite where we used to be in terms of revenue. Our costs are substantially less. And that's really the secret to our surpluses that we've had. So our costs have actually been being driven down as much as possible. And of course, we were hiring some people now, so we're kind of gaining a little bit on the expense side, but still much lower than the revenue. And as long as we can keep doing that and producing surpluses, we're going to be okay. And we're going to be able to build courts with no loans. We're going to be able to build, or do something with the community center and all the other things that we need here in Shelby Township.
Absolutely.
And the question becomes, what you're talking about, or what are you referring to when you say transparency? There has been an issue, that has been brought about by anyone because of that transparency model that we put in place. And credit to the Board of Commissioners; they were the ones that really wanted to force that issue, and we couldn't agree with them more, with the exception of one unit of government, and that was the Public Works Office. Mm-hmm. There's unfortunately funds that are available to the Public Works Commissioner through questionable legislation that's out there that isn't part of the county government, that isn't transparent, that isn't online. That is all going to change starting January 1st. We're very confident of that for 2 reasons. One is, I just got through pushing for legislation that's in the state right now that gives access to the executive to be part of that board, dealing with all those funds that are coming in through ratepayers' money from the various municipalities. So we finally have a seat at the table to see what's going on. And it's going to be one of the commissioners from the district where that drain happens to be in. So that legislation in and of itself is going to start forcing more transparency, but I know because of the new leadership that's going to be taking place over at Public Works through Candace Miller, that is one of her first and main focuses, is to have that funds and that monies available for our finance department and the Board of Commissioners to see as well. It was opposed in the past, but no longer is that going to be the case. You're going to know where every one of your tax dollars are going, and even the money that you're spending on your rates.
So we're going to see your hand in that pot a little bit more, and other people more involved.
I don't put my hand in any pot. However, what I do is I monitor, what's going on. Right. And we have people that are constantly going to be watching it from our finance department. There have been questionable issues that have taken place in the past, and we've called it out. And unfortunately, the reality was checks were written that probably should not have been written in certain areas, but it wasn't through any one of the other county-wide elected officials, the Board of Commissioners, or the Executive's office. So that will be an issue that's going to be resolved. The thing you can't resolve is, unfortunately, we are hearing with some local units of government or municipalities, it really hasn't hit the county yet, we haven't heard of any, where you've had some people that have taken campaign contributions, which is legal. You can take contributions for people to support you for your elections, but if those contributions are used as some type of a bribe, that's a concern. And so right now there are some investigations that are taking place at the federal level with some local officials, and it's been publicized as a result of that. Yet those people are still do their day in court to make a determination what happened. So if you're taking money for a bribe, that obviously isn't very transparent until it catches up with you with some type of a law enforcement agency. but you know, we don't. 99% of local officials and public officials are there to try to do the right thing. They're trying to work together, trying to solve problems. Unfortunately, you have that 1 or 2% out there that are doing things for their own self-benefit, their self-good, and it makes the rest of us look bad. You just have to accept that, move on, and try to guarantee through, I guess if you will, transparency models that you put in place that people say, you know what, okay, we know it can't affect that because of what we're seeing right now.
And that's calmed, that all of that Macomb County corruption, as the media had branded that, that calmed down quite a bit for the elections. Do you think 2017, I don't know how much you would know, but in your opinion, do you think we'll see more of that in 2017?
You know, I don't know. I'm one to say, my background in law enforcement, you know, if somebody's doing something wrong, they need to be held accountable. I mean, that's simple. You know, they're also due their day in court. So, you know, for us to get ahead of it and right away convict them, you know, through the media,
right,
that's unacceptable too. But you know what? That seems to be the way the public is these days. And you just got to accept that too. But the reality is, you know what? I don't know what's going on with those investigations, but again, if there are people that are doing things inappropriate, taking money for bribes, not just campaign contributions, that needs to be addressed and it needs to be weeded out. No different if I had a bad cop in my department. I'm not there to try to protect them. I want them out of that agency because they're a bad reflection of the public, is what they're expecting and trust of law enforcement officials. So I had no problem if I had a bad officer trying to eliminate them from the organization. And when it comes to public officials, the only people that really can do that are like federal agencies or the law enforcement agencies through their investigations. And if it's happening, it needs to be addressed.
What's that sentence?
And I do agree with Mark.
Sheriff out of the job.
I'm just saying.
But I do agree with everything that Mark said, and also I would say that our books are open to everyone, not only the citizens of Shelby Township, but to law enforcement or anyone who may have questions. So open books.
Good.
Yep.
When it comes to initiatives, I know Shelby Township has had the Blight Initiative, Macomb County has had Make Macomb Your Home, the Blue Economy. What can we see from those programs in 2017?
Well, I think already you're seeing some blight initiatives already. We've torn down some buildings, one right across the street from you.
From here, yeah.
And we're going to have probably a couple buildings going up next year, and that's part of that new small business initiative that actually I touched on. But we've identified 10 or 12 blight targets that we're going to clean up. And we're working with these people right now. We can help them, or we can kind of take charge. And right now, everybody seems to be cooperating. Sometimes it means tearing down a building, and sometimes it means some heavy-duty renovating. But the Blight Initiative is something that I wasn't really sure we needed. But when we started looking around Shelby Township, even in Shelby Township, yeah, there are definitely some opportunities. More than 10, actually. But we just want to get our arms around 10 for now and maybe expand it toward the end of the year. But blight is actually one on our top 10 initiatives in 2017.
Last question, because this has been great, but we've got other people to talk to now.
Okay.
Last question, in 2018, what is something that the residents can look back on the year and say, look at them go, they did it?
I think for me it's really easy. Look at all the things they've done, and our taxes are still the lowest. They have not increased them, and that's a big thing in Shelby Township. So we're going to continue saving our money, buying things when we can afford them, and we're going to keep paying. And if we don't have the cash, we're not going to buy it. I mean, unless of course some emergency arises, which we don't anticipate. But I think we're even prepared for some of that as well. But if you want to be more specific, I think having a court done, built. I think the community center, if it's not built, it'll be partially or almost completed. And I think in the infrastructure, all the fire departments will be done. Everything will be up to date. We'll have one additional fire station. And I think all in all, we'll have some great quality of life initiatives. And we talked about the parks and the trails. I think all those things will be done, completed, and everybody will be happy.
What about for Macomb County?
Macomb County, I think it's been recognized. We're one of the fastest growing counties in the state of Michigan, if not the country. And then when you look at the investment as well, people are coming here for a reason. People don't just move someplace by happen chance. They go there because they feel welcome, they feel comfortable. Our diversity within this county has been ever increasing. And we're seeing the investment in this county for numerous reasons. I mean, it's happening. And I think what we're trying to do is increase that sense of pride people have, not only living here, but people that say, you know what, that's where I want to be. It's a place I want to be, and I want to live there. We're fortunate. I mean, I tend to look at certain aspects of what we're doing and think, you know what, we can do better. Working together, we're trying to make that happen. And I think you're finally seeing Macomb County come out from underneath that blue collar, just talk about our politics kind of a county. I think people have more of a sense of pride in what's going on. My biggest thing, as I go back to my criminal justice days, is to try to figure out how do we change the thought process of, you know, instead of taking a look at people that have problems in society, mental health, substance abuse, no longer are we going to look at it and try to figure out, okay, let's just incarcerate, let's just keep putting these people up, because there is no substitute for treatment. Incarceration is not the substitute. So we're trying to figure out how do we do a better job on the front end dealing with people that come in contact with law enforcement, of finding treatment options or opportunities for them prior to the incarceration. Our infrastructure needs, whether it's roads or underground, they're going to see that Macomb County is a model when it comes to helping and dealing with these problems and issues now that we have a new direction from our Public Works office. So I just think there's going to be an incredible amount of pride people take in this place we call home, and that's Macomb. So I'm excited to work with the partners that we have at the 27 distinct municipalities.
In January 1st, 2018, if all our residents can sit down and say, you know what, in 2017, I'm really happy with quality of life, I'm happy with the public safety, and I'm happy with the finances because everything's balanced. If they can actually say that their needs have been met or exceeded based on what our Board of Trustees has done and all of our 300 plus employees, I'll be a very happy guy because they're doing all the work.
Yeah, that's true.
And by the way, keep up your good work too. Congratulations for being recognized as Macomb's #1 news.
Thank you so much, and we're going to keep applying for more.
Sense of pride.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
You're talking
for
to the right
being
guy.
here. Yeah. And coming up on Shelby this week, our special look ahead edition, we'll be talking to the chiefs, both police and fire. Stay tuned.
Daisy is 6 years old, and she is my very best friend. I couldn't live alone without her. I spend a lot of time in my backyard. I feed the birds and the bees. I love my flowers. The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. I love them. They're my savior. And I look forward to the volunteers because they've all become my friends. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
And welcome back to Shelby This Week in our special Look Ahead episode. I'm here with our police chief, Robert Chalai. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi, Kelly.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're glad that you can make it. So first, let's dive right in, talking about 2016, your biggest accomplishments.
Well, 2016 was a great year for us. It was my second year here, my second year working with DC Coyle. We're a great team, the two of us together. What he lacks, I have a lot of. What I lack, he has a lot of, and we're a great team together. What we were able to deliver to the department in 2016 is every officer on my department now has their own police radio. And this is very important. Let me tell you why. Before my arrival, the department had pool equipment. And basically what that means is we had 25, 30 radios for everybody to share. We were on duty, you come and check a radio out. Well, a couple things wrong with that scenario. Number one, people take care of their own equipment much better than they take care of a pool equipment.
Right.
Just imagine if you had to share a car with everybody that worked here. Okay, do you think that car, what's going to look like at the end of the day versus everybody had their own car assigned to them? It's going to be pristine. Mm-hmm. Well, it's no different than police equipment, tasers, guns, radios. You take care of your own equipment. So the bottom line is we were able to make that happen. It was very expensive. It was about $350,000. But that's not the only reason we did it, and not even the most important reason we did it. The most important reason we did it, if our officers are activated and we ever have any type of incident where we have to mobilize, every one of my officers has their own radio. In this day and age, you just don't know when we're going to be mobilized. It happens around this country every single day. Get the darts out, turn around, start throwing at the map to see where it's going to happen next, and my officers will be prepared when they come on duty. No sharing radios, no worried about we can't send somebody on the street because they don't have a radio. They have their own radio ready to go. So something I'm very excited about. Another thing we did, we delivered a type of training called Combat Casualty Care. Every single one of my officers is trained now, including myself and Deputy Chief Coyle, down to our brand new PO in the door, in taking care of themselves if they sustain a mortal wound, I should say. So let's say, for instance, one of us gets shot, and we can be able to call out, hey, we've been shot. Well, we have equipment now on our belt to take care of ourselves until the fire department will arrive to rescue us. It includes a tourniquet. It includes gunshot patches that we apply right over a gunshot to stop the bleeding and freeze the bleeding up. And we've never had this stuff before. So this one-day class is cutting edge right now. They're just trying to get it going in law enforcement, and we're done already. We've already delivered it. We plan on making it a part of our annual training where guys will get a couple hours of it every year, just a reminder, if that makes any sense. But two things I'm very proud of, and two of our biggest accomplishments. On a much different note, we're able to add a second canine officer, second canine to our team, which I'm very excited about. Now we have an actual canine team. So those are the three big things we're able to deliver in 2016 to the department and to the residents.
And I like that you touched on the new canine officer. A lot of people will wonder, well, why do we need two? We've got one. Why is a second one so needed? Correct.
Well, I mean, let me give you many different reasons. Most importantly is coverage. There's 168 hours in a week, okay? My dog was only covering 40 hours of those 168 hours. Now we have coverage about 80 hours of those 168 hours. That's half the week we have coverage. So what we do is we take the prime times, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., maybe Monday through Saturday, and that covers a bulk of what we need the dog for. So if that makes any sense, back in the day, or before we had a second dog, we only had coverage maybe Monday through Friday from 3 to 11, if that makes any sense. Now we have morning coverage. We have constant need for a dog as far as PR purposes. The residents, the children in our community, they love our dog. He's a welcome addition to our PR, our public relations team. Our dogs wear a dual hat, kind of like our administration, where they're responsible for crime fighting, but they're also responsible for our PR side of it and our engagement with our children and the different people in our community who love animals.
They're busy.
They are very busy.
And a big story this year with Shelby Township Police catching Anthony Iannotti while he was out on the loose. And a lot of people were surprised at first when this all came out that he was spotted in Shelby Township. We thought, he's not around, he's not going to be here. Everyone kind of seemed like, well, maybe the police are a little bit more relaxed about this. And then all of a sudden, what was it, 24 hours later, you guys caught the guy.
Well, like I said earlier, I've been here for almost 2 years now. In January, it'll be 2 years. And this was by far the biggest law enforcement-related incident under my tenure. And I couldn't be more proud of the way our officers responded. Well, let me backtrack. First of all, we had wind of him being wanted. We knew what was going on in Warren. We knew that he had ties up in Shelby Township. And we had all our people on full alert. There was a little bit of a disconnect as far as us getting information that we should have had. We potentially could have had him in custody days earlier if we had information that other law enforcement agencies were trying to protect. And I'm not a fan of that. Let's put it like that. But bottom line is, we didn't have the information that we should have had in our hands, and he ended up making an appearance in Shelby Township. And our officers responded immediately. He was able to escape our dragnet. We had about 35 officers out there. We called for mutual aid. We called for Sterling Heights, Utica, Macomb Sheriff's Department, and the Oakland Sheriff's Departments to come help us. We called people in from home. We set up a command post, and we looked for him for about 6 hours. He was able to escape our dragnet, but what he did is just basically prolong the misery because we were able to grab him a few days later. And once again, the run come out. We had a young mother at home alone with her 2-year-old child, and she saw him trying to break into the house. What could be more scary? Okay, you tell me. You're a young lady. If you're home alone and you see somebody trying to exactly. Well, something I'm extremely proud of is when she called 911. 1 minute, Kelly. It took 1 minute. Now I know that might sound like a long time, 1 minute, but in all reality, it's a great response. And our officers were there within 1 minute, and we were able to tell her on the telephone, "Our officers are here. Relax." And within a few minutes, my entire shift was surrounding that home, and we spanned out, and we were able to grab him about half a mile away. And I couldn't be more proud of our staff and they did a tremendous job. And it just goes to show you we're vigilant, we're on guard, we're here to protect our families and our children and our residents and our business owners, and I couldn't be more proud of our staff.
Absolutely. That could have been a very dangerous situation for that woman. And you guys were fast and quick. That disconnect that you talked about between other law enforcement agencies, is that more of a learning experience that now, you're going to head into this new year thinking, all right, this is where we've got to be better? Or is that something that is not something that you can address?
Well, it's hard because all these different departments are run by different people. There's different leadership. And while all I can do is control my department, if that makes any sense. So we share information. We want to help. We want to participate. We love teamwork. Actually, it's one of our 4 pillars is teamwork. And bottom line is not everybody feels that way. A lot of these different departments feel like they have to control everything and protect everything. And some of it's concerning to me, but it's nothing that I can do. Or my department can do on our end. We're great at a teamwork aspect and sharing information.
Absolutely. You work on you.
Yes.
And I know for the next year, let's dive into the looking ahead part. You guys have some big changes coming in terms of the courthouse moving.
Yes.
Are you going to be working together with the court and, as that building comes up?
Of course. We've already started meetings with Judge Shepard and the court administrator over there. One of the things, I have to be honest with you, I want to get our footprint over at that court. And what I mean by that is I want a video feed into my dispatch, and then I want alarms set up when the judges would ever have to hit an alarm or any of the clerk girls, that it goes right into my police station. I don't want a third party, and right now that's the system right now. So if they hit an alarm, it goes to a third party. The third party's got to take the call, then call our police station, and that I don't want that. And that's why I explained to Judge Shepard, and he thankfully is 100% in agreement with me. If Judge Shepard pushes that button, I want my dispatcher to see Judge Shepard's chambers is ringing an alarm, and my guys will be there as quick as we were on the I-90 case, including me. Okay, It's only a minute down the road. I'll probably beat my guys there, if that makes any sense. But right now, the system that they have, I don't like. What Judge Shepard and I agreed to is when we redid the building, and now we're going to have a brand new building, that we're going to have a footprint and input on how the security is set up over there. Unfortunately, not only in this country, but in countries all around, judges have been killed right in the courtrooms. Okay, they've been killed in the courtrooms, they've been killed in their offices, and I don't want that to happen here, if that makes any sense. And I want to make sure that my dispatchers have a live video feed of everything going on. Now, we're not going to sit and watch it. We're not going to be sitting and watching it.
Right,
okay?
You don't have time.
Exactly. We have more important things to do, okay?
Right.
What I want is when that 911 call comes in or that alarm gets pushed, my dispatchers can click of a button and mouse and look and see what's going on, and my dispatchers can give information to our officers while they're responding, which information is critical in those type of situations. So, yes, we're excited to have a say-so, and Judge Shepard has been a great partner of ours, and he's 100% in agreement with our recommendations, and we expect to have full say-so on what goes on as far as their security at the building.
And what about any priorities or goals you have as police for 2017? Is there something that you're going to look back at when 2018 hits and you say, all right, we did it. We got that goal done?
Well, in 17, right now the biggest challenge for Deputy Chief Cole and I is to continue the momentum that we have going right now. We have a tremendous amount of momentum going, what we've been able to do in a very short time. Actually, if one of us were smart enough, we probably could write a paper and have it published in one of the publications, how we've been able to change our culture here. And it's all started how we treat our people, okay? My philosophy is we treat people the way they deserve to be treated, the way they should be treated, if that makes any sense, okay? And you go out and you work hard for us and you put your life on the line, and we're not going to be a source of stress for you, if that makes any sense. Okay, we're going to support you, we're going to get you any training that you might need, we're going to make sure you have the best equipment available, and we're going to make sure you have all the tools you need to do your job, if that makes any sense. So that's what our goal is with our officers. We start at the bottom down and work our way up, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
And right now, the staff has been very receptive. A couple of things I've been told by people that have been there for a long time, they've never seen morale there as high as it is right now. So we're very excited about that. Let me move on. Our training, right now, we're trying to take our training up a notch. Right now, what I believe, what I'm seeing around and watching the news and these incidences where officers are shooting people, that are questionable shootings, that we need more training when it comes to real life situations, okay? We have a type of training I've invited you to. It's called simulations. We have a big production coming on. It's going to be 2 days where our officers are going to be put into these real life situations, and we won't have a gun on. It'll look like a gun, but it'll be a simulation weapon that we can actually shoot and everything, and we'll have instructors there to grade our officers on how they do. And more importantly than the grade, to correct them and let them know, okay, look, we don't shoot somebody for this. We don't pull our gun out. Now, we don't have a problem with that here, but I need to reinforce this and make sure that everyone has this type of...
Because you never know when the situation could hit.
Of course. You watch a lot of this stuff and you realize this could happen here. You know what I mean, if that makes any sense? One of the situations they had down in North Carolina where a guy had a gun on him, the officer saw it, they told him to put his gun down, he refused to and then removed it and he was shot. Well, this caused days of rioting. Well, if somebody were to have a gun here and were to pull out one of my officers, I would expect my officer to shoot him, if that makes any sense. And if he didn't, I'd question him. Why didn't you shoot him? You put yourself in jeopardy and anybody else was around, if that makes any sense. So a lot of these things that are going on, they could happen here, and I want to make sure that we have the best training possible. Bob Trupiano is in charge of our training. He's putting a big plan in place right now. Deputy Chief Coyle is going to be reviewing it for approval, and as soon as we get it going, I think we're looking to do it in the second quarter of 2017. Like I said, it's going to be 16 hours of scenario after scenario for our guys. I'm very excited about it, and I want you to come along with Shelby
we'll
TV.
Be there.
And we'll be able to show the residents.
For 2017, you guys, I assume you're going to still stay on budget like you've always been. I mean, you guys have done a great job with your surplus.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. Our budget is coming close to $2.7, $2.8 million.
Wow.
Our surplus, I should say, not our budget. My first year here, we had a surplus of $1.1 million. And the funny story about that is I got hired in January, and by April, Patty Koenig and Marion Carmigiani, hopefully I pronounced her name right, my assistant and my secretary, and Patty's been here 31 years and Marion about 25. Well, they approached me, they were concerned, and they said that they'd never seen spending like this in their entire career. And they thought that I was going to get fired and blow the budget and get the police department in trouble. And I chuckled. Okay, I chuckled because all I was doing is spending money on training, equipment, and education like we should be spending money on. And when you're going to run a major modern police department, such as Shelby Township Police Department, where we have a $15 million budget, we're going to spend money, okay? We're not. I don't treat our budget like we're a farming community of 30 and 40 years ago. And if you go to the board meetings, you'd see some people in there that want this to still be a farm town. It's not a farm town anymore. This is a premier bedroom community, and I'm going to make sure that our residents are protected and have the great police services that they're getting. So for that to happen, we've got to spend money. We've got to train. We have to have the best equipment, and my guys do. And we've been able to deliver that over a two-year period since I've been here, and to the tune of, under my leadership, we have right around a $2 million surplus alone under my leadership in the budget of dollars I've been given. So I chuckle and tease Mary and Patty all the time. I think they were a little bit off base, but they're so used to not being able to spend money no matter what it is. Okay, and if we're not spending money, we're not doing our job. That makes any sense. And every dollar that's spent, I review and make sure that it's within our budget and it's what we need it for. And I take responsibility of spending taxpayer money very seriously. But to sit and say that we're not going to spend any money at all, that's ridiculous. And I think that's some of the previous administrations had that mentality. I don't.
Right, absolutely. Well, we look forward to 2017 and everything that you'll bring us and keeping us safe as always.
Okay.
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And now we're talking with Fire Chief Jim Swinkowski. Hi, Jim. Thanks for coming in.
All right. Hi, it's nice to see you again.
Absolutely, you too. So first, we want to talk about 2016 and all the great things that you guys have done throughout the year. So first, let's start with the new dispatch system.
Yeah, beginning of the year, we updated for emergency medical dispatch. We got a computer software system that integrates with our computer-aided dispatch system. So when someone calls 911 and they give us, they tell the dispatcher what their chief complaint is, what's wrong, then this system will pop up because our dispatchers, they're not medical professionals. They're trained to do the job they do, and they do it very well, but it's a lot for them to remember between the EMS runs and the fire runs, and obviously with all the, the police side, it's a lot. So the emergency medical dispatch is actually in the state statute that, our dispatchers have to be trained to dispatch medical runs so they can provide over-the-phone care while they are dispatching us at the same time as we get there in case CPR is needed or choking, that they can give instructions over the phone. So the way the software system works is they can, the question will pop up if someone's having chest pain. Then, questions are, is the patient breathing? Do they have a history of a previous heart attack? Are they, sweaty? And there's a whole list. And as they go through and the people answer it, they are entering in information, and it will pop up right on the laptop for the paramedics that are going to the scene, so they can see in real time what's going on. So when they get there, they have a better idea of what the situation is.
Right. And it's also going to make it faster, so that way they can really provide help and hopefully save lives at a quicker pace.
Absolutely. It gets us on the road quicker because with the system, the dispatch, once they know it's a medical emergency, they can dispatch us and then give us the information because, going back, old school years and years ago throughout my career, they would have to gather information over the phone, which can take, up to a minute and a half. Is the patient breathing? Is the patient actually at the address you're calling from? Well, now, with the technology and stuff, every few years they're trying to improve the system to get us on the road quicker. And this is something that, it makes it easier for the dispatcher. And then when you get into like labor and delivery, gunshot wounds, they're just getting us on the road, and we're seeing the updates on the computer right on the lap, so the dispatcher doesn't have to tell the person, hang on, and they get on the radio and tell us and then go back.
Right.
They can just listen, type, and it just, integrates right onto the laptop.
It's all in one.
Yes.
And is it right now in practice right now? Are you using that system?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Wow. And have you noticed a change?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The guys are real happy about it, guys and girls that are on the truck. They're very, they can see the information, so there's less radio traffic on the way. I sit there in my office and I can hear they're going on a run, but I don't hear the back and forth communication we're used to hearing.
Right.
And they're getting on the road a little bit quicker, and things are just, it's working, like behind the scenes is working a lot smoother.
Absolutely. And let's talk about CPR training, because you guys have done that, on the weekends. So you're working overtime on the weekends to help residents, to help anyone who wants to learn a little bit more about saving lives with their own hands. So talk a little bit about those sessions.
Yeah, one Saturday a month we offer CPR to anyone who wants it. They come in, it's through the American Heart Association, and we also do the what they call the Heart Saver. That is for the everyday person. They will come in and get CPR training, and then there's also every other month we do what they call the healthcare provider. So that's for like nurses, doctors, medical professionals, dentist office, everyone, those people that hold that type of licensure needs a little bit deeper class. So we just alternate those classes every other month. And there is a nominal fee to cover our costs, but that's just for the off-duty instructor to come in and teach a class on a Saturday. And all you have to do is call the fire department headquarters for information, and we're obviously already scheduling into 2017.
Absolutely. And those have been going well?
Oh yeah, yep.
Good.
Yeah, we've been doing that as long as I can remember.
Oh, good. And so let's talk about 2017. Looking ahead, the big story that, for your department all year, and I presume will be the big story for the rest of this year, was the fire station number 5. Can you talk a little bit about where that plan is at right now?
Well, ironically, I just came from there. The station is on target to be done in the first part of the year. We're hopefully optimistic January, but most likely, hopefully, sometime in February we'll get it operational. Wow. And that is the busiest quarter of the township that we've had for many, many, many years. But there's also a big lack in coverage, and this has gone back through, I can remember 2005 that this station was talked about, and even when I hired in back in 1991, there was a master plan to have 5 stations. Wow. So that was part of the overall master plan, looking 30 years in the future, back when I first hired in, that eventually as population growth and things like that, because for a fire department, we service primarily the 24-hour resident, those that live here. So no matter where you go in communities, fire stations are located near residential areas.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones we have to respond to 24/7. Those are, there. I mean, obviously with the industrial and commercial and retail, that have varying hours, but it's the 24-hour residents. So that's what our service is, geared towards. And, not having a station down there, it's, and especially now with the traffic and congestion, it's hard to get anywhere.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult.
And a lot of your calls are from that area, correct?
Well, if you look at east of M53, that's 12 and a half square miles of the township, 1/3 of it. We 42% of our runs going back towards 2015, we average about 42% are east of the freeway. Of that, a majority, much greater than 50%, is south of, down in that 22-mile down to Hall Road and,
Right.
Shaner to Hayes. It's
Right.
in that area, fire, EMS runs, whatever. We just have it's a very dense area down there, and there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people coming, going through the township, so, car accidents, everything. So
Yeah.
it's a very dense area. And
Do you think the residents have been perceptive to building this new station? Have you heard any chatter?
well, when the township first bought the property in 2012, I was just coming into being the acting chief with the passing of Chief Shepherd. There was the people that lived there were really, obviously upset, didn't understand it. But I think a lot of that, once it's there, once you see it, it's more. It's like it looks. We designed it to be more of a big house. It's a quiet operation. I mean, the lights and sirens, the run volume is already there. The trucks are already screaming down Shaner. We're just changing the starting point, so we're closer to the incidents down there. So we have a good distribution of our station and manpower, and we have a station on Ryan Road in Auburn, and also 24.5 in Shelby Road, which are right in the middle of residential areas. And we're quiet. We get along with our neighbors.
Absolutely.
And as far as the business side of it, during the day, it's very quiet in the backyard and that, and emergency runs come in, but we do our best to not just disturb anyone when we don't have to.
Well, we're really excited to see what you guys are going to do in 2017. We're excited about the fire station, and we can't wait to be there for the groundbreaking. So.
Yep. Working with the Chamber of Commerce, so once we have the ribbon cutting, everyone will be aware of it. We'll have a nice little open house for it, and hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later.
Right. Thank you so much for coming in, and good luck in the next year.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chief.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his
I
backpack.
can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Drop that baby.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
And finally, we are here with Utica Community Schools Superintendent Dr. Christine Johns. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. So let's talk right away about 2016. Can you talk about some of your accomplishments that you're really proud of in the district?
Well, we've had a fantastic start to the year. This past fall, when we had the release of the new SAT, our students took the top of the county, all 4 comprehensive high schools and the Utica Academy for International Studies. And in fact, Eisenhower High School was one of the top 50 schools in the state of Michigan. And we're very proud of that achievement. Additionally, our graduation rates continue to be solid, 92.4%, and that is 12 points higher than the state of Michigan, higher than the national average. We have high quality schools in Utica Community Schools. Additionally, we have our Seal of Global Language, which we started. We have 150 students who are achieving that seal in addition to their high school diploma, which means that they are basically bilingual or trilingual, and they are going to be successful in the global economy. We also had a fantastic fall in that our fall sports did really well as our music programs continuing to be exemplary. Our bands all achieved a positive rating, for a high, top rating in the band festival, as well as Utica Community Schools for the 3rd straight year being recognized as one of the best communities for music education. And since this is the holiday season, for those parents and residents that have the opportunity to observe our choirs, you know that we have very talented young people in our district, and we just had the first LEGO robotics regional competition, and once again Utica Community Schools students did great. And again, this is just a hotbed for robotics, and I could go on, but we have had a fantastic start to the first half of the academic school year, and we are looking forward to 2017 as we move into the second half of this academic year. Just a great community.
Yeah, and it should be mentioned, Utica Community Schools is one of the biggest districts in the state. So managing that kind of district and making sure that all of these students are moving forward, that's going to be a tough job.
Well, Utica Community Schools is the 2nd largest district in the state of Michigan. We are very fortunate that our parents do a great job supporting us. We have a 95% graduation, or 95% daily attendance rate, which means our students come to school every day. Our parents are engaged. In terms of our recent audit, we had again a very positive audit, and that now is over a decade strong. In terms of, again, we manage our resources well. As 2017 approaches,
what are some goals that you've got going on?
We do have some changes that are going to occur. In fact, the 1st of January, we will welcome a new Board of Education.
Right.
The great news is that we have a new member coming on, but we have experienced members that will continue to be, that are on the leadership team. So stability is a hallmark of our district in our teaching force, as well as our administrators and also our Board of Education. So we look forward to welcoming that new Board of Education. We do have some challenges this past fall. I did communicate to our parents through 2 community meetings that the financial challenges continue for UCS and all districts in the state of Michigan, really due to 2 factors. One, dealing with student enrollment. The state as a whole is declining, and Utica Community Schools, as the 2nd largest district, is a microcosm. And so our enrollment will continue to have a slight decline. Secondly, over the last decade, the state of Michigan has not kept up with inflationary cost for schools. For example, for Utica Community Schools, that means we have only gotten $60 per pupil over the last decade. So that, again, that doesn't meet inflationary costs. So why do we continue to grapple with the school district budget? Well, because slight decline in enrollment, as well as the state, the state not addressing the growing the inflationary cost of schools. We have made budget reductions over the last decade. We have had $116 million in reductions, over 900 full-time positions. We have closed schools, so we have tightened our belts. We really need help from the state. At one of our community meetings, parents were asking why the challenge, and what I want our taxpayers to know, and our residents, is that the 6 mills they pay on their homes, their primary residence, those dollars go directly to the state and then are redistributed across the state. The Utica community, they don't come directly to the Utica Community Schools. So I think that's an important factor, because the state does need to address a district that is 2nd largest, well managed, has tightened its belt. The state of Michigan needs to make sure that we are getting our fair share, because we are also performing at high academic levels.
When it comes to 2017, is there anything you're really looking forward to, any initiatives or goals?
I'm looking forward to, once again, celebrating another fine graduating class. This class, again, as I said earlier, they have performed well academically. I know they're going to continue to perform well. We have, our students have more advanced placement courses than any other students in the state of Michigan. Our career and technical education programs are also thriving, and just a number of things. One of the exciting things for our junior high students at Mallow and Davis Junior Highs is we are going to open in January the new auxiliary gyms. Oh. Those gyms are part of the 2009 bond issue. You had asked the question just a minute ago about technology. The difference, the technology we're purchasing, the hardware, we're able to purchase through bond dollars, which is what our voters have approved locally. So that's why we're able to do that, and that's how we are able to sometimes balance the assets that we have as well as the resources we have available to our kids. But I agree that we have a great community, and our parents are really just fantastic in wanting what's best for their kids. That's why we have the high quality school district that we have.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
We're looking forward to next year.
Looking forward to next year as well. Happy holidays to
Happy
everyone.
holidays to you.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on this special look-ahead edition of Shelby This Week. You can watch all of these interviews in their entirety on shelbytv.org or on our Facebook page. Just search Shelby TV. We'd like to thank all of our leaders who participated in this episode. 2017 is looking like a promising year for our township and the county. See you next time for our regular Shelby This Week newscast.